It's like it gets frustrating because it's like when it comes to the Steelers, they automatically go, "Oh, you're no good. You're not gonna be a contender in the Super Bowl." Oh, but the Ravens are. Well, guess what? The Ravens lost to, Philadelphia too. So it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, and going back to what you were talking about with the Chiefs and comparing it with the Steelers and stuff, this was the first game that the Chiefs played where it was basically like a 2-possession lead.
Yeah.
Every single game up to that point was just nothing but close calls. It depended on one play, one field goal. Heck, there was bad snap with the Raiders, which I'll never forget.
Well, and when it comes to like throwing down the field, they don't have that deep threat. Well, our deep threat was missing out of that game.
Yeah.
Now, could they have been more aggressive in picking up another good wide receiver? Yeah, they could have been. That's not the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get the best bang for their dollar. And the thing is that Justin Fields, when he was in at quarterback, he had 166 yards per game. Okay, in throwing. Russell Wilson is 238. So there's a clear advantage of having Russell in there. When Pickens isn't in there, I mean, that's a big, how well would Philadelphia done in that game if A.J. Brown wasn't in there?
They would have done a lot worse.
Exactly. Okay, so it's like you're comparing apples and oranges. Have their team 100% healthy, have our team 100% healthy, then compare. And take out the equation of some of these really bad calls with the referees.
Mm-hmm.
The first quarter.
And one of them was that Washington, where they had there was a bit of a scuffle going on there with a back and forth between him and one of the cornerbacks or something.
Yeah.
He was throwing punches. The Eagles were throwing punches and no call again. Both of the calls were towards the Steelers. And I'm sitting here thinking like,
it should have been offset penalties.
It should have been offset.
It's always offset penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Not there. I mean, how can you not? The referee was 10 feet away. How do you not see that punch being thrown? Clearly.
And there's videos surfacing on the internet where it's like front row seat of what occurred. And it's like, it's obviously a scuffle where the Eagles were throwing some punches.
I know. It amazes me because it's like, sometimes you watch these games. Now, did the Steelers play bad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything that we said they needed to do, time of possession, run the ball, this type of stuff, they didn't do any of that. They had a very bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It seems like they always have a bad game in Philadelphia.
And this was the same thing last week, and I think this just proves how much George Pickens elevates their offense. Multiple 3-and-outs. The Steelers had like 2 or 3 3-and-outs, probably even more over the past 2 games. But it was just,
I mean, what would have,
the run game couldn't even develop.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stats, you look at Najee Harris, 6 carries, 14 yards, and you're thinking, like, why even have a running back?
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, and we talked about Najee, multiple times and how he needs to like step it up, or maybe we should start looking elsewhere for talent in the running back position. I'm surprised that they didn't use Warren as much. I only watched the first quarter of that game, so I didn't know how much Warren was in there. Was he in there a lot?
I think he had around like 40 some yards or something. or I'm not sure the exact stat, but what I can say is he definitely put up more numbers than 14.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why they didn't pick up the 5th-year option for Najee Harris. This right here's the reason why. And it's hard to tell if it's Najee Harris or just the line being injured. But one thing for certain over the past several years is that Najee Harris isn't consistent.
Yeah.
He'd have games where he's getting over 100. Okay, 3 games back-to-back over 100 yards. And you're thinking, oh, he's picking up. This is the second half of the year. He's got to be picking up.
Yeah, I thought sure he would be better by now.
And, then you witness this monstrosity of 14 lousy yards. He can make that in one play, one game. He can make 14 yards in one play in one game. And then in another game, that's all he could get total.
Philadelphia does have a good defense. That's not taking anything away from their defense because when it comes to yards per game, I believe going into this game, I'm pretty sure that they were number one defense. They were stingy. They allowed the fewest yards per game. And I'm pretty sure that was, I mentioned that last time. So they are a very good defense when it comes to, those numbers.
Yeah.
Now, as far as points a game, I'm not quite sure where they lay. But the Steelers also have a good defense, and I think the Steelers had a couple key turnovers in that game, at least from the first quarter, a little over quarter that I watched. They actually had 2 turnovers, and then they only ended up with 3 points, and we can't be doing that.
Yeah, the announcers are like, 2 turnovers in a minute. Well, it'd be great if we could get something off of them.
Yeah, we need to score points when we get those turnovers. And, and I've said this before, even if it's field goals, but we had 1 field goal with 2 turnovers. It would have been nice to have a field goal and a touchdown at least.
Yeah.
And now think about it. If we would have had 10 points, and if Najee, wouldn't have fumbled that ball late, I guess that was late in the game.
And that's another thing. Philadelphia took advantage of our mistakes. They got a touchdown that drive.
Yeah. Well, that gives them the momentum.
Yeah, it gives them the momentum. And the Steelers, they were near the red zone. I think they were at the 25 or 30. So they were coming into the red zone. And that was when Najee Harris started pushing. Okay, he started doing pretty good at running. It wasn't until the last 8 minutes of the game or whatnot. And just the momentum and the spirit just kind of crashed after that.
Just so you know, Philadelphia is now in ESPN's power ranking, and I'm sure this is probably across the board. They're ranked number 1 now.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Number 1 in the power rank.
Yeah, but number 2 is Kansas City.
Yeah, number 2 is Kansas City.
I still think I think it's the Bills. I think the Bills are number 1.
Well, the Bills are down to 4, which I don't understand because they beat the Lions.
Yeah, and did you see how many points that was that game? It was 48 to
42.
Yeah. It's
I seen that statistic because it's it's like, how do you score 42 points
and still lose?
Never throw an interception, and I think I'm pretty sure he had somewhere around.
He had 5 touchdowns,
600 yards or something.
Yeah, it's insane.
It was an insane number, and you lose.
But then there was that other game where
because I thought they had a good defense.
But there was that other game where their defense I heard was pretty injured. But there was that other game where I think Jared Goff from the Lions ended up throwing 5 interceptions.
And
then they won. So it's like
this year's
so
this year's
wonky.
Well, this year's so backwards.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Bills are number 4, and that it may have to do with their record because they're 11-3, and the other 3 teams have a better record than they do. But we're at number 7. Green Bay Packers jumped ahead of us. I actually think that that's probably a fair assessment of where we should be. And that's why I go off ESPN. I've said that multiple times. I think that's very fair. I don't think I would put Kansas City as number one, even though they have a better record, because they barely win those games. And then, of course, Patrick Mahomes got injured as well.
Yeah.
But what about our injuries? I know there was a pretty bad injury. It looked bad with T.J. Watt.
Well, it's according to this, because since we're recording this on Tuesday, we don't get the complete up-to-date injury report because they start that from Wednesday to Friday. But it says that Coach Mike Tomlin said on Monday that he's optimistic about him returning.
That's what I heard. I heard that he's like walking normal around the facility, so
which is good.
That's a good sign. And then I also heard that the door was ajar, meaning it was left open for some other critical players to come back in and play, including Pickens. I heard that there's a chance that he could be playing this coming week. Now, we're not going to know that until the injury report comes out, but
I can see them doing it this game because it's such a crucial divisional game.
There's some rumors going around through the rumor mill, and probably the biggest one that I'm reading on social media is that Jerry Jones wants Mike Tomlin bad.
Jerry Jones from the
Dallas Cowboys. He wants to have Mike Tomlin as his coach next year, and he wants that make him the highest paid coach in NFL history. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm seeing. Now, how true that is, and I've been seeing this on some pretty important sites. So, I just thought I'd put that out there. You think that that's,
where? Oh, I don't know if that's true. You say it's a rumor, but I hope not.
It's a rumor at this point.
I mean, he does have a 3-year contract, so.
Well, what's contracts mean?
But
now coaches, they fall out of the realm of salary cap.
Yeah,
I would assume. So Jerry Jones can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Even pay out the rest of Mike Tomlin's contract.
Well, I saw that Mike Tomlin gets paid like 11 or 12 million, while someone like Andy Reid from the Kansas City Chiefs is getting paid 20.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. He's a great coach.
Yeah, he's won so many games.
Well, he used to be the coach for Philadelphia.
So there's.
And then he goes to. Didn't he play for Seattle? I think it was.
Well, he played Philadelphia and then Kansas City. I don't know about anything else. But
pretty sure it was.
Moving on to coaching, I'm curious to see how Mike Tomlin will look like when he's at this Eagles game on Hard Knocks. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how he acts because we've yet seen him on Hard Knocks
lose.
Mm-hmm. He won these games, the last 2 games. So I'm curious to see how he's going to react on the sidelines as we see this Hard Knocks.
I can't say anything about the coaching in this game because, I didn't watch enough of it for one thing.
The only thing that I thought was silly is, were you about to ask if there was any bad coaching or whatnot?
Yeah, like time of possession, any type of bad call.
The only thing that I thought was a bad call was it was 7 minutes left in the game. It was 13-27. I think it was like 4th and 5 on the 50. They ended up punting it. I wasn't sure why, because you don't have that much time left. And obviously, when you see the time of possession, it's completely one-sided.
That's because we couldn't run the ball.
We only had it for 20 minutes.
We couldn't run the ball.
We only had it for 20 minutes. So to end up punting the ball, is kind of
How many times was Wilson sacked? Do we know that? I couldn't watch the game because it was on Fox.
Yeah.
And I don't get Fox.
Yeah, I was watching the game because I have NFL Plus. So
yeah, so and you were at my house for about 45 minutes.
Yeah. From memory, I think he got sacked twice.
Well, see, that's not a whole lot.
Maybe 3 times at the very most. But I think Jalen Hurts, I think he got sacked.
Here's what I don't understand, and maybe enlighten me. And if anybody knows the answer to this, let me know in the comments. But, Calvin Austin's really fast guy. I mean, he's super fast. I seen him at training camp. He can catch the ball. He's got great hands.
He can cut corners.
Yeah. It's like, why didn't we have plays specifically for Calvin Austin? Because it doesn't look like we utilized him at all.
Well, it seems like Calvin Austin makes big plays. And he makes touchdowns.
It seems like we were so concentrated on the run.
And it seems like we were concentrated on Pat Freiermuth so much.
Mm-hmm.
We were throwing a lot to Pat Freiermuth in the run. That development. I can't even tell you how many times Russell Wilson would throw the ball and it would get hit and get knocked by the defensive line.
Well, Russell Wilson's not a very tall dude. I want to say that he's only like 6'1".
So even though he was throwing to people that seemed like it was only like 3 receivers that he was throwing to or whatnot, or 2 receivers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2 receivers, he would.
He's 5'11". So you're Russell Wilson's height. You may actually be taller than Russell Wilson. You're what, close to 6 foot?
That's probably why he throws those. They call them moon balls. Throw them so high that they almost come straight down.
But when you compare 5'11" to Roethlisberger, who was 6'5", I mean, he had a half a foot on him, and that means that you're a lot higher when you go to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me that he gets. I'm surprised he didn't. Actually, more surprised he doesn't get more passes batted down.
But to me, this game, like, with all the 3 and outs and all that stuff in general, it seems like we were trying to focus too much on the run game. And when he would try to throw it, it seemed like multiple times he was getting batted and just deflected.
But unlike the sports world out there, the analysts and stuff like that, and the sports gurus, like I said before, it's any given Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Steelers have a bad game? Yeah. Could they have played better? Yeah. Were they missing some very key players?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have the disadvantage of playing elsewhere? Yeah. Do they play good in Philadelphia? No. Never have.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of things going against us. I picked the Steelers to win that game, but I said they had to own time of possession and they had to establish a run, which they didn't do either of those. But I don't think that's it. We're not going to go anywhere into the playoffs. I just think that's too premature. I think the Steelers, I think a lot of it has to come down to injuries towards the end of the year because players get wiped out. I also think it has to do with how well you play in December. And, we have 2 more games coming up. Let's see how we approach those games and see how well we do in those games. But, I don't think this is a game that you need to get scared over. I mean, we play a really good team.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, up until the third quarter, I mean, it was by half, it was a very close game.
Yeah, I think at one point it was 13-17.
Yeah, so it was a close game. And we just have to play better next time.
Mm-hmm. And this is an ongoing thing from 1965, so this isn't like out of the blue.
Yeah, I mean,
battle.
Well, that's what I mean. Even if Roethlisberger was in there, we probably would have lost.
Yeah.
So I mean, and we've had some very good teams under Roethlisberger, Super Bowl winning teams, and we lost. So that doesn't mean nothing to me.
Yeah, but okay. I think that's it.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week, it'll be next week. So and we'll be going over the Ravens game.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.